Good afternoon, and my name is Dr. Vidya Mabe, and I will be presenting HIV-TB integration in a research setting. I am a research director at Clinical Research Site at BJ Government Medical College and Johns Hopkins University Clinical Research Site. So we see on a routine basis TB cases as well as HIV cases who participate in our clinical research. So what is key for that is to manage the management of their flow so that they get prompt care as well as treatment, but then ensure that there is no risk of nosocomial transmission, and then infection control strategies then need to be implemented in research settings. So as a glimpse of our research studies, we have over the last several years, for last at least 5 years, enrolled about 6,500 TB cases, including the pregnant women, and then overall about 8,000 HIV positive participants in various studies, including being part of a Treat Asia consortium. So in this, as we know, the confirmed nosocomial TB transmission has been diagnosed or been known for over several years, where this case is talking about a contact investigation of 11 infants, where one mother was positive for TB and spread it to the other mothers as well as other infants while she was breastfeeding. So it is known for several years so far, and in our own setting, we have published 2 data, one suggesting that the incidence of TB infection is very high among medical trainees, including medical residents and nursing students, and that tuberculosis risk among medical trainees is almost 15 times higher than general population at 3,279 per 100,000 population. So what do? Our model basically follows what has been done in program settings, that including an HIV subjects who are enrolled in our study undergo symptom screening, or 4 symptom screening, which is a WHO questionnaire. If they have any symptoms suggestive of TB, will get TB diagnostics and will be referred to TB care. If you already know, if they are only TB patients, then HIV screening is mandatory in most of our research care. And once they are positive for HIV, they are then sent for ART center and ART care. So once we know both whether TB and HIV are positive, then we ensure that co-trimoxazole therapy are on, they are sent for DOT for TB and are placed on ART treatment. So in clinical setting, we have adopted FAST strategy, where we, as soon as we see a participant with the potential symptoms of TB or is coughing, they will immediately separate them from the rest of the participants, and then we fast track them to get their evaluations for TB. And we have also implemented the infection control strategy for TB, where we do have a policy which is in place. We also have a training of staff which is in place. And then we have adopted AIDS Clinical Trial Group Network standard operating procedures for the TB infection control procedures, where basically there are 3 levels of infection controls are followed. One is at personal level, environmental level, as well as administrative level. In administrative controls, we already have a FAST strategy implemented and separating and ensuring that they are started on TB care or at least TB diagnostics. While at the personal protection level, we ensure that if somebody is known case of TB, they are given a surgical mask. If possible, if they do not have any dyspnea, then N95 may be offered, but mostly we offer only surgical masks. And if they are visitors, we generally provide surgical masks, as N95 masks are almost always are in high demand, are not always available. But for healthcare workers, it is mandatory for them to use N95 respirators if they are taking care of a TB participants. So before employment, all of our research staff undergo a pre-employment evaluations and get a fit testing done. Symptom screening happens at least annually in our settings. And we encourage all of our study staff to undergo annual HIV testing as well as TB testing. And as I mentioned, fit testing is done by a dedicated infection control officer in our settings. We also have a separate sputum collection area for TB patients where the healthcare workers must wear N95 mask, and the designated area, it has to be a well-ventilated area, and the healthcare personnel or research staff provides instruction to the participant on how to follow the hand hygiene and so on. So it's already known that in a research setting, in a laboratory setting, the risk of TB infection and disease are much higher if the TB cultures are manipulated by the research personnel. And so laboratory also follows similar infection control strategies where the regular training of staff happens, and then there are already policies and SOPs are in place, and that they also undergo fit testing along with annual evaluations. Mechanical ventilation, including indigenous way of circulating air at least 6 to 12 times per hour, has been implemented in our research area where we see all of our TB patients. And then we also have an ultraviolet germicidal irradiation, which is become a standard for all of our research areas. So in summary, HIV-TB integration actually in research setting also follow the same theme as program where both HIV and TB cares are provided, or at least the diagnostics are provided in a rapid manner. And access to diagnostics, again, are pretty fast because that is kind of mandated by the research protocols. And we also ensure infection control are in place so that patients and research personnel are not getting acquiring TB infections or disease. Specifically because reduction of TB exposure for HIV is a priority, and so ensuring that for the participants, at least for the HIV participants, it's become critical. Thank you.